Welcome to Coffee with Carrie. I'm your host, Carrie Lazat. I'm the Director of Cable and Community Relations here in Bloomfield Township. It's been a great summer for me. I hope that you're also having a really good summer. And I delivered my annual report last night to the Board of Trustees. If you haven't seen it, there'll be links below, and we'll post that presentation later. But it was really good time to recognize all the work that we've done over the last year. And one of the things that we're doing now to engage the community is our food truck Wednesdays. So we'll have a food truck here, and you can come and hang out with people in the township. And it's open to everybody. You don't have to be an employee. And it happens kind of right behind our cable studio is where the food truck's set up. So that's one of the things that my department is now doing. But today I have my special guest, Martin Brook, who's our township clerk. Welcome, Martin.
Good morning.
Good to see you.
Good morning. Nice seeing you.
Thank you.
And that presentation last night was amazing. It's must see. Anybody who wants to learn about what's happening, check it out. Oh, yeah.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, it was good. It was good. It was a lot of work by my whole team to pull all that together. And the studio, the open house, was also super cool to have people in to our space. It's been kind of renovated and cleaned up and everything. And I see someone's already commenting. There's a comment in there.
You know how I know it was a lot of work?
Yes.
Because he couldn't tell.
Oh, you couldn't tell?
No, it was just seamless and beautiful. So I want my stuff like that. So I can't wait to do some more things. And this podcast is part of that. We've got a lot of things to communicate about election law changes that are coming.
Right.
And
yes.
So
you said, so this is the biggest year or the most changes that have ever happened in Michigan.
In the last century. So it was in the last overhaul of Michigan election law that was 1950s. There have been changes every year. There always are changes, but a complete rewrite in the way that we have happened this time in Lansing. So it's the biggest change to election law in the past century.
Mm-hmm. I just have to say, we're already having some comments. So someone is having coffee with us, Michael Seltzer. So Michael, thank you, Michael, for joining us. Michael is a trustee in Franklin. So he was here at the open house last night.
Wonderful.
So now he knows to tune in.
Yeah,
and
thank you.
Also, if you want to come to future open houses, I know we'll have one in December for sure, and maybe we'll start in January with something more regular, but sign up for the Township e-news. That's where everything comes in. Michael, you are always invited. We'll have you come in and talk about Franklin. But this is about Bloomfield Township and election law. So I'm sorry to interrupt, but that's what happens when you're live. So we have 5 people watching, which is actually pretty good.
Excellent.
So last 100 years.
We're excited about it.
Yes. It's actually kind of warm in here too, Steve. If you wouldn't mind turning down the air conditioning. I feel like
a little air in our hair.
I feel like I'm starting to, it's warmer than usual. And I usually complain that it's too cold. So anyway, sorry. I'm totally there. It just popped on.
Ask and we delivered.
So what are the changes that are happening?
They're very comprehensive, and they're all about greater access, well-maintaining security. And, these are things that happened because of the passage of Proposal 2 last November by the voters, overwhelmingly passed. And the legislature is responsible for implementing those things. In the process, they're making some other changes. My role as a local township clerk and the other local clerks is to administer these changes in a consistent manner throughout the state. With everybody who comes in. So I don't write the rules, but it's my job to make sure that the voters here have access to all of the rights that they have as voters, and we do it consistently and fairly and accurately.
So you said there were 3 things that are changing.
Yeah, 3 main things. So we have an election this November. It is a special election just for the Bloomfield Hills School District, and they are asking to renew their sinking fund millage. And at this time, we'll have 3 changes in place. One will be the placement of additional drop boxes for around the community, and we can talk a little bit about that. Another is the permanent mail ballot feature, and the other is early voting, which will all be in place for this November.
Okay.
Next year, there could be additional changes, but let's talk about that another show.
All right. So these drop boxes, we have one that went in last year at Township Hall, right? Which was very popular. People really like that. So where are the other ballot boxes, the new ones, the drop boxes? Where are they going?
Okay, so there'll be 2 more. One is on the east side of the township on Westview Road.
Oh, isn't there a picture for that? I think we have a picture.
Go
ahead. Yeah, a map.
And it is next to the fire station on Westview Road at Eastview Elementary School, right next to the fire station that's there. And then also at Village Hall in Township, in the village area of the township, which is at the corner of Losser and Maple Road area.
So how are these locations selected? Why those spots?
Well, we're required to distribute them around the township in a sort of equal basis as possible, and based on what's available. The location at Eastover Elementary School required the school district to collaborate with us. And the Bloomfield Hills School District has always been a big supporter of elections. We have many of our precincts in the schools. And the school board agreed to an easement which allows us to place the box there and monitor the box and care for the box. There's a camera that'll be on the box all the time, watching it to make sure that it's operating. We also every working day will be going to the box to check that it is still secure and safe and compliant, and then removing items that are in there, such as applications for absentee ballots or actual ballots themselves.
So if people want to put like little surprises into the Dropbox.
No surprises.
No?
No surprises.
Teens like to do, I don't know, they do crazy things, but our Dropbox is locked right now, right?
It is.
So it's not, so it's only open during.
And it has it's locked, and there's a bag locked over it. We will have the same Dropbox at the two new locations.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. And the slot is just big enough really for an absentee app or a ballot.
And they'll all be ready for this election.
They will.
Okay.
They will. We're in the process of actually installing them right now. They'll be ready by the end of August.
Okay. I'm sorry. Can you go back and just tell me what this election is for again?
This is the Bloomfield Hills School District.
Right.
And they are asking the voters to renew their sinking fund millage.
And sinking fund is what?
A sinking fund is a special millage that's allowed for very limited reasons, which are stated in state law, primarily to maintain the buildings they have. It's not really for new construction. That's what the bond was for, and they're working on new construction. But the existing buildings always need repairs, and this is one way that they can raise funds for that. If they don't do that, they need to use general funds, which I know the school district prefers to spend on programming and education instead of buildings.
Yeah. Well, I
used to be on the school board, so it's something I'm familiar with a little bit.
Yeah, I just visualize this big sinkhole as, I guess, the intention of using that kind of language. So.
Yeah, right. I don't know why the state comes up with these funny things. So we have special assessment districts. There's another way that taxes are raised for special purposes, which we all call SAD villages, which
it's
also a funny name too.
Yeah, it's awkward. That's awkward too. So tell me, the other thing is the mail ballot.
So the constitutional amendment created a permanent mail ballot list, which we will start maintaining this election. Other communities that had elections in May or August have started the process already. We're starting it because we have a November election. The mailer you just showed will go out in the next couple of weeks or week to every registered voter in the township and offering them the opportunity to get on the permanent mail ballot list. This is a list that's different from the current list. So we have a list now of 18,000 voters that are on the permanent absentee ballot list. This is that list, permanent absentee ballot list. They are sent an application. They complete the application, send it back in, they're sent a ballot. If you're on this new list, the permanent mail ballot list, once you apply, which is the document you showed, they will be automatically mailed a ballot for all future elections to the address that they're registered at in the township. And that process will start this fall. Now, we will be running both lists simultaneously, at least through next year, and then likely the permanent absentee list will be phased out, so they're really duplicative at that point.
I'm glad we have you to help keep everything straight because I'm kind of confused. But
I'm thrilled to be doing it. I'm thrilled to have it's a privilege and honor to be doing it. And I really believe that democracy is the founding principle of our country, and I'm thrilled to have the chance to work on it every day.
So this year's election is kind of a test drive for the next year, which is, I guess, another big year. It's already going to be here, right?
Well, the other thing we're test driving this fall will be the early voting. So another new feature from the constitutional amendment the voters adopted in 2022. And through a lot of hard work and the enthusiasm of our local library board, the early voting site will be at the township library. So I'm thrilled to say that it's here in our community for our voters, very accessible at the corner of Losser and or the corner of Lone Pine and Telegraph. And the library board, the library administration are super excited about this possibility. It'll be a joint site, so it'll be hosting not only our voters in Bloomfield Township, but also the voters of Southfield Township, which is Franklin, for instance, and the voters of Birmingham. We'll all be using that site. And the three clerks will be collaborating to ensure that the site is staffed and run.
So what is the difference? I mean, why have this early voting site? What's the difference between that and an absentee ballot? Like is this just voters' choice? I mean, what's the advantage?
Right, it's just another stream for access. Individuals that want to come in and obtain a ballot on the spot and run the ballot themselves through the machine.
Okay,
will have the ability to do that. You know, a lot of people are busy on election day. They just really are. I've never had that problem myself, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist, because it does. The people are out of town.
Or people have to work. Some people are working.
They're working. There are unexpected issues with daycare or whatever it may be. So this expands the access to the ballot. And so does the permanent mail ballot list.
Okay. Did you say how much early? How much earlier?
9 days. So
9
we'll start
days.
the second Saturday prior to Election Day and end the Sunday before Election Day.
And people can just drop in any time to the library.
8 hours a day.
8 hours. Okay.
The actual hours are yet to be set.
Okay.
But they're likely to be normal hours plus an evening hour, and then the weekend hours.
All right.
And we're excited. The libraries, our Bloomfield Township Library is a special place.
They are certainly
great.
the best library.
It
is. They are.
It's going to. They're here. And
we have special
the
guests.
Stage.
We're not just saying it for you. We believe that anyway.
It's true. It's true. And the voters are going to love it. It's really the perfect spot for it. And on top of that, of course, people could drop their ballot in the ballot box. My staff will pick it up. And they will be counted through the absentee ballot process. But if they want to vote in person, they've got those 9 days to do it.
Tell me what else has been going on in your department. So how do you staff up for these elections? Have you had any promotions? Like, what's been going on in the clerk's office since I saw you? I see you all the time, but since our viewers have.
Elections change constantly. And this is the biggest change, but they're changing every year. So we're preparing around the clock all the time, even when there isn't an election. But it's a big community affair. It's really the largest thing that happens in the township.
And we have good voters
every time there's an election.
What's our turnout usually?
Well, 80%. So
80%.
We'll have close to, in a presidential year, 30,000 people who are voting. In non-presidential years, it's 15 to 20.
Yeah.
And that's still a great turnout. Some of the highest turnout in the entire state happens here in Bloomfield Township. And my goal would be that everybody who can be registered by law is registered, and everyone registered votes every time. A vote is a sad thing. Is a sad thing to waste. We don't get very many of them.
Right.
So our turnout's great, but we could be better. Perfect is my goal. And these additional access points are really going to help with that. We're ready as a staff to do it. We will be adding at every election time. We add our neighbors, our friends, people who we all know in the community work and do this. 200 people roughly will come together on election day and the month beforehand to work in my office, to handle absentee ballots, to begin the process, to mail out things like these applications, and to make it happen. So elections happen because our community comes together and makes it happen. It doesn't just happen in my office.
Yeah.
So it is a big community affair.
And there's some late nights involved, I think, right? I mean.
Oh, yes. Yeah. So as we get close to elections, we're working 7 days a week in my office. So are other additional sort of seasonal election staff. As we get closer to the election day, it's really a 24-hour affair. So it's kind of like running a marathon and then ending it with a 1,000-meter sprint. But it's energizing and exciting and very meaningful. We'll all be tired the next couple of days or weeks after the election, but boy, it's a wonderful thing to be part of democracy and how it operates. And as the clerk, I'm not shy to say, voting is the foundational thing that happens in a township. The clerk is responsible by law to run an election. I mean, honestly, without an election, without the legitimacy of the outcome of election, nothing else is possible in a township. You know, all the rest of it happens because we have a legitimate form of government, which is the democracy part. And if we didn't run, free and fair elections, then the legitimacy of everything else we do here would be in question.
Do you think? I mean, the questioning of elections and I guess legitimacy of the ballots and the electronics and the technology involved. Do you think that's kind of behind us? Is there going to be more conversation? People, I mean, what are your thoughts on what will happen? Maybe not this year, but 2024.
There's no basis whatsoever to the idea or allegations that there was widespread fraud that changed the outcome of the election. It's absolutely untrue. But more people have become engaged and look at elections and think about it. Then that part I welcome. Anyone who wants to come in my office and ask me questions about elections, I welcome them. We talk about it. If you're curious to learn more, folks are out there. Call my office.
You give tours to students. I mean, we start them.
We do. There's every year, twice a year. There's Bloomfield Hills Schools government classes come. We give them tours. So having eyes on elections, that's a good thing. Coming up with fake ideas about to justify positions, that's a bad thing. So get out, get engaged, sign up to work elections. We're always recruiting.
Get to know your representatives, right?
Right.
They're real people.
Accessible.
They're accessible.
We had one
That's
of our
what they're
state
there
reps
for.
at the board meeting last night. And
she was reporting out how much money has been given to the community, right? That she went and helped
in the last budget
negotiate.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So we're ready. My staff is ready. We've been planning and thinking about this for a while. What I want to make sure, and the purpose of being here today with you, is to make sure our voters are ready to know about the things that are changing, the early voting option, where it is. The hours are yet to be set, but expect that it's every day, roughly 8 hours a day for the 9 days. The option for a permanent mail ballot. It's not for everybody. But for those people that, for instance, people who would travel a lot between Florida and up north and here, probably not a great idea. You might want to sign up for an absentee ballot when you want it versus permanently, because it doesn't get forwarded. I mean, we'll mail it to your home here, but if you're in Florida, it's not getting forwarded. So the list isn't for everybody, but it is accessible for anyone who wants to sign up.
I think I'm like the early voter kind of person, because I think I would be at the library and say, oh, well, I can vote. And now I don't have to schedule it for just that specific day. Now I have 9 days where I could go in and to the library.
Right.
And while I'm checking out my books anyway, it'll be a good spot for me. Because I do like I like the formal going into the ballot box and checking the little, circling the little bubbles and everything while I'm doing that. Although I don't know if we have an election in Franklin or not, so I'll have to see. Mike, do you know? Are you watching? Are we having an election in Franklin? Probably not. It's so small.
I'm with you. Prior to being clerk, I always voted in person, but I do vote absentee now. Election days, I'm pretty
so busy
tied
for
up,
you, yeah, right.
There's so many things going on, but it feels great actually to spend the time to fill it out and run it through the machine and get your sticker on the way out the door and participate. In that right and privilege.
The big years, there's like a lot of homework that I feel like I have to do, like figuring out, because sometimes the bills, I know that they're written by attorneys and there's a certain reason why they're written the way they are, but sometimes they're a little confusing. So there's like the proposals,
yes,
right? Yeah, right. Figuring out what those are and which way to vote, and like the ads that come out try and sway you one way or the other, that maybe you still have to research it beyond that.
Yeah, the ballots can be very long. And that's a great reason for getting it early, absentee, and thinking about it. But you don't have to do that, because on our website, as soon as the ballot is ready, we post the ballot on our website, one for each of the precincts, because they can vary a little bit. And so you can see a copy of the ballot at least 45 days prior to any election by going to the township clerk website.
Right. You have anything else for us today, or is that good? Is that enough information for today, or any other final thoughts?
Good. So just remember, people have the option for early voting, 9 days of early voting starting this November, the permanent mail ballot list, and the drop boxes, which we'll have 2 additional drop boxes in the community for use for voting.
Excellent. All right. Well, and I just want to remind everybody that they should subscribe to our Bloomfield Township Government e-news, because you would get reminders. We send out the e-news once a week to subscribers, and then we include our videos and stories and election reminders, waste pickup reminders, all kinds of good information is in there. In addition to following us on Facebook and all the other social media places where you can find us. So thanks for joining me today, and we'll see you next time.